Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another series of Connected Talks conducted by the Alumni Association of FCRIT. Today, we have Mr. Bhaskar Banerjee, the alumni of our college. Sir, we are glad to have you here today. Mr. Bhaskar graduated in the year 2011 in the field of mechanical engineering, went on to do his master's in mechanical engineering, specializing in NVH and vehicle dynamics. He interned for 1 year with FEEV Incorporation that provides NVH testing support to the big three, that is Ford, GM, and Chrysler. Got hired full time in Cummins as a mechanical dynamics engineer to perform experimental and analytical vibration and durability testing on Nissan and Dodge truck engines and generators for Facebook and Google data centers. You have an interest in the field of vibrational mechanics and analytics. So, could you please enlighten us on that subject? And how is it important in daily life?
Vibrational mechanics basically studies the structural behavior under different loading conditions. Any structure, large or small, right from a small vacuum cleaner all the way up to the International Space Center, has moving parts with relative motion leading to either vibration for the occupants, noise in the environment, or eventual failure due to fatigue in the material. The study basically begins with generating a mathematical model of the structure and enough to capture the details of how it's going to move and how is it going to interact with the environment. And then once we have studied the mathematical model enough, we come up with prototypes and then we test it on field. It's usually an iterative process. You go back and forth between your math model and your real world model till the time you come up to the final product which you deem essential for the consumer. Moreover, there are different government and environmental regulations that we have to comply with. So different countries have their own environmental act in terms of the noise any equipment can emit. So we have to comply with those. So that's the whole field.
So my second question is, people interested in pursuing masters in the field of aerospace had a question. That is, what is the importance of vibrational analysis in the field of rocket science?
Structural dynamic system can be broadly divided into three components. One is the source, the path, and the receiver. Source is basically where the vibration or noise gets emitted. Path is how it travels through the body, and receiver is usually us, how we listen to it or how we perceive it. Now, in case of internal combustion engines or a vehicle for that matter, we have a very thorough understanding of how the source behaves. We can measure the engine, we can measure how it flows through the body and how we perceive it. So that's very well known, and there has been decades of research behind it. What becomes tricky in case of rocket science is that the source is not that well understood because it's extremely random in nature. How a rocket takes off and then all the things that it encounters during its flight path is not fully known, and it cannot be, you cannot generate models to predict its behavior. Although these days, one's finite element methods, something that's really popular nowadays, it's called substructuring. And there's another method called digital image correlation. These are fields that people in aerospace and if interested in the field of structural dynamics should pursue. Those are things that are causing a lot of hoopla in the market, and people are more and more interested. The only downside is there's a lot of in-depth mathematics that's involved when studying rocket or satellite dynamics, because things are not knitted or bolted as we have things on the on the planet. Things are free in outer space, but there's a lot of resources that one can find in SpaceX, NASA, Blue Origin, or Sandia National Labs. They have their blogs. People can go read about it. What's the current research?
Okay. So could you please tell us some of the biggest challenges you have faced in your life?
From a career perspective, someone who desires to make a career in structural dynamics has to be aware that from the very basic concepts of courses like strength of materials all the way to finite element methods are important in the life of a dynamics engineer. Most of the undergraduate curriculum that we study in University of Mumbai is very theoretical, but as you can understand, given the nature of my field, things are very hands-on. You have to be, it's very crucial to build that understanding of how things are going to behave, how things are going to react in the field. So it took me a long time working in test tracks and garages to build that hands-on intuition. I still will not call myself an expert, but you keep learning. One big challenge this field poses on student, and I think I mentioned this before, is the amount of mathematics that's involved. One has to have a very good grasp on like vector calculus, Fourier and Laplace transformations, numerical methods to solve partial differential equations. Now, these are a few things that I use on a day-to-day basis. Companies these days push for efficiency a lot. So there's a need for engineers to develop like automated programs to perform some of the common analyses on their own. So some coding skills like Python, MATLAB, Java are surely important skills for any engineer in today's world, I feel.
So the last question, what message would you give to the students of FCRIT, sir?
First thing is primarily focusing on just the theory is baseline. As an engineer and probably a potential researcher, one has to look beyond just the numbers. Connecting those numbers that you get at the end of solving like a strength of materials or a design question to the physical meaning of them, like, whether you will be able to make that, whether those numbers actually make sense. That's where your engineering judgment comes into place. Now, these things require one to make connections of different courses that are taught in the undergraduate curriculum. The best way to learn, I would say, is attending conferences, reading research journals, participating in TechFest competitions, taking coursework projects seriously as opposed to just for term work. That's one thing that I would strictly advise. Every single experience will add to your bank of knowledge that someday will, might help you save the day. Try to gain as much hands-on experience as possible. If you can work at a small-scale industry over the summer, or even a garage doing like tire rotation or oil change, will give you an additional layer of understanding of how machines work, and later on help build that insight in you so that you can connect with the numbers that you get in the end in your life. One very important thing is learn to write good reports. Read good reports and learn to write those. Communicate your results in very easy to comprehend presentations, because as an engineer or a researcher, you will pitch your ideas to leadership. You might not, and those leadership people, they might not be well versed with the engineering jargon. So it's your job to show the value of your approach by relating it to like efficiency or dollar value or project cost. Lastly, and I cannot emphasize this more, figure something that you are passionate outside of your work and academics. Learn a new language, learn a new musical instrument, learn how to cook, read good books, volunteer. Basically make time for friends, family. Do not make your studies and work the only interesting thing in your life. We are all trying to be like well-rounded individuals and professionals, and you won't get there until you balance all the other aspects of your life as well.
Thank you, sir. This marks the end of our interview, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and having this interview with us. And I hope students are motivated, sir.
Sure. All right.